So as Martin and me were just debating about whether or not Ward is a nice mechanic, we put that topic aside and focus on a few new cards of the upcoming set, which is Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah, we're going back to ELDRAINE, a set that most of us only remember for Oko, but also had a bunch of fun mechanics that have been kind of evergreen since. We've gotten a lot of food since then, some adventures, and we will return to those mechanics again and get some more funky, interesting interpretations of them.
Exactly, and as we were just talking about Ward, the very first card we have in mind or we would like to talk about is Royal Treatment, a new green protection spell that does not only give your creature hexproof, but it also gives your creature permanently +1/+1 and Ward 1 due to a roll token attached to it.
Yeah, they saw Snakeskin Veil, and they thought this card is not annoying enough, so we need to upgrade it. I feel like with those kind of cards, they just Wizard goes and like slightly increments the power each set. And someday they will get to some broken state maybe. But this looks very good, but probably not like evergreen broken. So
yeah, it depends on the deck, I would say. Like there are a few aggressive or I'm just thinking about when was the last time we played a deck on Cam that featured Snakeskin Veil. I think it's some time ago. It was Ivy probably was the last one. But whenever you're searching in the process of brewing a deck, whenever you're searching for such spells, this one comes in handy for sure.
Yeah, Snakeskin Veil hasn't been super popular, but it's still, I think it's in the back of our minds a lot when brewing new decks with maybe a little bit more commander-centric approach. So this will replace that card, and maybe we will see this a little bit more often.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, next up we have Agatha of the Vile Cauldron, a new cruel legendary card, which is not that interesting on its own or in a command zone on its own, but we mainly thought about a 99 for Marath, which is quite interesting. You can decrease the costs of putting down counters or creatures, and it also, if you would pump Agatha, you would also decrease the cost of her ability, which is, yeah, if you pay only Gruul for that, which is quite a nice ability to have trample and haste on all your creatures in an aggressive deck.
Yeah, maybe with like a 4 to 5 mana and Marath in play, you can do a lot with this card. It's still a bit mana heavy, I would say. But it's also a nice outlet for like infinite mana with Marath, right? If you get to infinite, you mostly have infinite green, right? If you play the, oh no, depends on the lands, yeah. But maybe this will be interesting for that as well. But usually you will just win, yeah. So yeah, interesting card, especially for that deck. And I think Wizards will also print like some cool new synergistic activated ability commanders in the future, and this card could increase the power level of them by a little bit. So, cool design.
I was also thinking about the Naya Minsk, which is played every now and then, but mainly due to the fact that this is the best pattern rector shell you can play in a format if you like to go in that direction. Having that in mind, this card might not fit the overall game plan, but still, it's another command zone that has an activated ability, which makes use of costing less than intended. But let's see. We will probably see it on a few tables here and there. And we're just talking about Agatha. There is Agatha's Soul Cauldron, a pretty fancy legendary artifact that was spoilered, and I think the community has already brainstormed a lot about it, if there is any way to abuse it. I think as I've sent it to Samuel, having in mind some Golos shenanigans, which are not too funky, but still there might be a use. in this deck.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very interesting card. One of those cards that could be very, very broken in the future, especially for just 2 mana. But I don't know. I don't currently see any way to really, really abuse this.
Yeah, I think people have thought about abusing it with stick fingers in a way to get back the original combo that was played in stick fingers with Walking Ballista and Phyrexian Devourer. But yeah, if you think about the lineup, it seems to be quite clunky. You have stick fingers that will put the cards into your graveyard, okay, but then you need the artifact, and then you need another extra turn in order to have a second ability, like have a second untap to use her ability again. Unless you, of course, okay, no, that's not correct. You can reanimate one of those creatures, and then you can activate the artifact, and then this creature, either of those creatures should have the ability from the other one, right?
Right. So, but it's then still a 2-card combo. So you could just reanimate both cards, right?
Exactly. Like you have to. No. You can just reanimate the Devourer, and then this one you can exile the top card, put some counters in it, and exile the Walking Ballista with the artifact, and then it has the ability.
Right. So it's not. Yeah, but then it's the same as like reanimating Kiki Jiki and another card, which isn't possible in stick fingers, but it's a 2-card combo. So it's not that great.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same power as it was with stick fingers, which was a 1-card combo basically. But yeah, I think you're right. This card will gain more power the more cards Wizards is about to print, and we will see this card at some point in a combo deck. Let's see.
The next card we want to talk about is probably, at least from what I've seen, the most thought about card from the set. It's a Kellan the Fae-Blooded, a Boros commander that has an Avenge ability, so that's the first for this format.
True. It's a Boros human fairy, which is quite fancy.
Funky creature types. Fairies are usually black and blue, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes green.
Sometimes green, but I think I'm not sure if there might be a white fairy, but I'm not sure if they've ever printed a red fairy.
Spell Queller is a white fairy.
Spell Queller? Spell Queller is a spirit.
Oh, it's a spirit, right? No, not a fairy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not red, but there might be a red fairy.
I mean white.
But don't argue with changelings, please. Okay, there are fairies, but that's not fair. Fairy. I think this is an interesting card with some powerful stats. You have a tutor in the command zone, and a 2/2 double strike that boosts your board in connection with the auras and equipments attached to it. For now, Yoshi Boros is the dominant aggressive deck that everyone plays on tournaments. So I don't see it being played in a format right now, but I think the card is powerful enough to have some potential in the future.
Yeah, just being able to tutor from the command zone is usually pretty powerful. And if we will find a way, I think if we still had Sarah's Sanctum, this might be a cool card for that deck, because you then could make like a bunch of mana to recast the adventure over and over. But with the current state, and also I'm not sure if there is like any way to really break auras if you get like all of them into your hand.
I mean, the best deck that usually abuses auras is Lightpaws still.
Yeah. And Lightpaws looks way better than this, I think.
Absolutely. This is more like of a equipments/auras matters deck, whatever. It's an interesting type. We haven't seen something like this in a format yet. And I think the card itself is powerful enough to be played at some time, because the stats seem to be pretty good.
Yep.
Of course, you can shock it. It's a 2/2 only, but still it has double strike and boost your board, as I said. We'll see. It might get some play, or we will never see it on the table. I might be wrong, but I think the card looks interesting for sure. Next up, there is I think this is the how's this even called in English? This little it looks like a cookie, but it's not a cookie.
Gingerbread?
Gingerbread. Right. Thanks. This is an extract from the trailer, from the original ELDRAINE trailer, I thought, because it's like I was just searching for it when I saw the picture. There was this trailer where like there was a man and this or whatever boy and girl, and the boy was eaten by Garruk, right? And she was angry at Garruk, something like this, and then took the peek and ran at him. Anyways, I think this is a great card. Legendary artifact creature, 2 mana for 3/1, quite good, and it matches the anger against Garruk. It has some special effects as long as your opponent controls a planeswalker. I would primarily play this card in Ratchet, to be honest, because Ratchet is the deck in which you can make most use of the second trigger and grow the card. So it's simply an aggressive drop that sometimes is even better because your opponent has a Grist or Aminatu or Oko or whatever on field.
Sometimes you maybe just want to punch their planeswalker down to 1 and then just keep it on the board and always keep it low, so you always have the trample and the hexproof. That would be kind of fun. But
maybe,
yeah. this is ELDRAINE, famously known for hating on planeswalkers. Questing Beast is probably the worst card if you have a planeswalker in play to see.
True.
And this might be a new one. So yeah, it's a cool card.
Absolutely.
You will not sacrifice this for life usually.
No, I mean, yeah, I was just about to say maybe Zai is also playing this card. Why not? It's a cheap aggressive body.
Yeah, but they are not really sacrificing a lot of artifacts usually, right? They're more into keeping them on field.
Yeah, but you could use it in a combination with Zai's ability. And also sometimes you have like a Soul Guide Lantern or whatever on board that you're about to sacrifice anyways. So this might become a 4/2 or even a 5/3. But as I said, I rather see this a regular abuse in Ratchet than Zai. That's a cool card. I like it. Next up, even a better card, I think. But that's also because Samuel and me are pretty hyped on Timur. As I stated in the community tab, Martin and me were also quite hyped for the Timur Tempo brew some time ago. And basically we've been waiting quite some time for a new Timur aggro commander, and Beluna is that Timur aggro commander. You have a 3-drop with 4/4 and trample, which is already pretty good. The deck will probably not make that much use of the adventure ability. Nevertheless, I think we'll put something together and show how it performs.
Might be a new commander for deck tech. If we get something interesting together.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
No matter how the deck will look like in the end, we will definitely do deck tech, I think. I mean the static ability to decrease the cost of your adventures is not too bad. You have a couple of nice adventure spells already from the original ELDRAINE set. The second time the adventure mechanic came up was with Battle of Baldur's Gate. Unfortunately, there was nothing featured that would be interesting for that archetype, but now there are a couple of more, and some of them we are going to talk about later too. So I'm very
also
happy
in
for
the also in the deck tech. So
yes,
don't spoil it too much.
Yes. Next up, who's our vendor?
He's selling spellbooks.
Nice.
And we're looking to read and get +1/+1 and the ability to scry one when we attack. So that's what we do with our knowledge. And also we have a nice 2/2 with Vigilance that has a kind of nice flexible mana sink, which is usually pretty good in White Weenie, because the deck tends to kind of like play all its cards and then be stuck with doing nothing a lot. and having like some kind of flexible mana sink that also helps with card selection, maybe getting to that single removal or hate card that you're looking for is very nice, I think. Maybe this is just too slow. Maybe this is too slow, and White Weenie tends to be pretty aggressive nowadays because that's how the format works. But I think it's a very interesting card, at least.
Absolutely. I think it's it fits perfectly well for White Weenie strategies or something like this. Boosting other creatures for cheap activation, and also having having some card quality selection is good too. And also this one has vigilance. You can make it a 3/3 with the roll token attached. So you also have a nice buddy for blocking duty. I like it a lot.
Yep. It's a fun one.
Absolutely. Next up there is Decadent Dragon. One of the more exciting adventure spells, I would say. Because the adventure itself is quite interesting. So first, black one on instant speed, so the card can be played in Rakdos Plus. You exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library face down, and you can look at and play them for as long as they remain exiled. So this can be quite bad. Can be also quite good, depending on the timing. Maybe if your opponent... Usually, okay, when your opponent resolves a brainstorm, they might put away cards that are not that good. Sometimes when they want to save themselves from a discard spell, they will put away cards that are good, but that's kind of a very wishful thinking in terms of I play my Thoughtseize and then I have 3 more mana left to play this adventure.
I think more realistically, you're playing this in response to Worldly Tutor or Enlightened Tutor.
That's where
this card really shines.
That's a way better sequencing.
And in general, I think having like a 3 mana kind of draw 2 on instant speed is very good. And the buddy is also nice, so you can kind of... does not have haste, but it kind of work towards finishing games and also making more mana. And also it says playing the card, so you can also play lands with this. Usually those kind of cards say cast, so that would make this a lot worse because you could not play the lands. But being able to get the lands as well is pretty strong. So Kess is not really a deck anymore, but if it was still 2017 and I was still playing Kess, I would probably play this card.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I think when I saw it, I was thinking about we should at some time show the ELDRAINE again.
Yeah. For that, this is also pretty interesting.
I think so.
Getting towards your bigger dragons for 3 mana is kind of nice if you get the treasure.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's another adventure creature, as this set is mainly dealing with the adventure mechanic and the new roll tokens. There is the Scalding Viper, one of the better ones. Has a sorcery speed petty theft. That's pretty much the same ability that Brazen Borrower has, just on sorcery speed.
You could also return your own card, so this is more like...
Oh, right. Right.
So it's more like Into the Roil or anything. But
True.
If it was 2023 and I would be playing Gerson, I would probably try this card out.
Absolutely.
Which is a very small set of circumstances, but Gerson is still pretty popular, I think.
Yes.
It's one of the top 5, maybe? Is it top 5 aggro decks?
Yeah, I mean, I think Yoshi is at the very top of everything.
Yeah, it's Yoshi, Rafine,
very close to that.
Grist, and then Gerson.
Yeah, we could debate about if Rafine is
aggro, but yeah,
aggro,
it's pretty aggressive. So yeah, but it's in on MTG top 8, it's still in the top 5. So pretty popular deck, 3% meta share. That's good, and I think this will be tried out. It's not insane, I think. But if you usually get like 1 trigger at least for this to get removed, that's also already a pretty good thing to do. And it also does not, it interacts with your opponent's value, so you can just play this for 2 and then maybe get some synergy off without being forced to play additional cards like most Gerson pingers do. They either need to untap or to make you play cards like instant or sorceries, for example.
That's true. So yeah, overall interesting card. Might also be, I'm not so sure. I mean, the card has no evasion.
Yeah, I think the body just does not matter. It's mainly
for Gerson only the ability matters. That's true.
Yeah.
For other decks, I mean, it fits the Teemo color, so you could think about playing it in Beluna too. If you only cast one red for a 2/1 body, might be okay. If you want to have some permanent bounds anyways, or non-permanent bounds, this might find a way into. But let's see. It's definitely a cool card. And last but not least,
more creature lands.
Yes. I think what is the best of these? I think the most interesting one,
probably the red one, right? The Izzet one.
Either the Izzet one or the Golgari one, I think.
Yeah.
The Boros one was quite underestimating, I would say.
You mean underwhelming?
Underwhelming, thank you.
I think the Boros one is fine. It's only cost 3, so just like Needlespire, and you can put cards also on other creatures you control and itself. So that's kind of cute, right?
Yeah.
Buff your other cards, but
I was thinking about if I would play this in Yoshi, probably not.
Yeah, right, because
Also,
you cannot afford the tap land. But you would play almost no creature land like this in Yoshi. So if there was like a slightly more mid-rangey Boros deck, I think you would probably try this out at least.
Maybe you would give it a try for gut white combinations. Maybe in the future, if at some point Yoshi will leave the battlefield, this might be an aggro deck that is coming back. And yeah, we might see it there. I'm a bit skeptical if 3 mana is worth the investment of having a 2/2 that puts a token. A counter, yes. Let's see. I mean, I
think that the main issue is also that nowadays decks are so packed full with non-basics, and we have a lot of choice. And back then, when the for example the second cycle of creature lands came around with Return to Zendikar, there was still a lot of place for those kind of cards.
Yeah.
So nowadays this is very competitive. I think the Restless Fortress also isn't too bad. Draining 2 life can be pretty good. Just saving your matchup against Red Deck Wind with a single land is pretty nice. Just getting back to life. But in the end, usually those cards are just too slow for the current state of the format, sadly.
Yeah. That's exactly my problem most often. I'm not even sure what the Simic one does.
It's a 5/5 for 5 with trample. And if it attacks, you can turn another creature into a 3/3. So either you can like pump up your dog, or you can maybe reduce an opponent's large blocker. So it can be kind of okay-ish if you need a mana sink or another creature mana sink in your Simic ramp deck. But I don't think there's a good Simic ramp deck at the moment. So, and even then, you would probably find other ways to win. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's it already.
We do have one more card, though, to talk about, right?
True.
Or to reference, because we already talked about that card, or at least you did, in our last meta breakdown.
Yeah, we're talking about Talion. This was pretty much the first commander from Wilds of Eldraine that was spoilered. And if you want to listen to Samuel and me talking about potential mechanics that are further on revealed or dealt with in this next standard set, we have a talk about that over at our latest breakdown.
If you want to listen to almost an hour full of Magic content, that's the place to be.
Was it that long? Yeah,
it was pretty long, right?
Yeah, it was pretty long. I mean, we haven't had that for quite some time. So
those are fun usually. So
yes.
It's 45 minutes, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, fun set. Not the powerhouse, for example, the Lord of the Rings set has been, but still pretty decent. Some interesting mechanics coming back, some interesting new ones like the roll tokens. Yeah, and yeah, more things to look forward in Duel Commander.
Absolutely. I have to say, I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm pretty okay with that. Like having a set that releases a few more cards that are powerful and we have to talk about and we have to include in our decks, and then also having a set that has some interesting cards, but most of the cards are not like, oh, insane, we have to get that, we have to play that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fine with that, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
It's much more relaxing for my mind to not always.
I don't need 40 euros Orcish Bowmasters every set.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. Okay. If that being said, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening, and see you next time with a new set, probably.
Absolutely. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.